Hey, hi everybody. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us in our webinar today on how to boost employee morale and productivity with better employee benefits. So this is actually part 2 of our Employee First webinar series where we invite experts and thought leaders to come and share ideas and solutions that puts employee experience front and center. So before we start, I just want to say a few housekeeping notes. So this whole session, it will be within an hour. We'll have an open Q&A session for all the presenters at the end. So feel free to use the Q&A box located at the bottom of your screen to put in any questions. So if you have any questions for a particular speaker, it'll be helpful if you can just put the speaker's name in front of your question so we can direct it to the right person. We'll also be sending a feedback form. You'll receive it when you exit the Zoom webinar. Appreciate if you can fill out the form, and on the form you can indicate whether you want a copy of the slides from today's presentations. We will also be recording the whole event, and we will be sending the recording out to everyone after the event. It should be by tomorrow. So before we get started into the presentations, I just want to introduce the speakers briefly. So we have 3 very experienced speakers with us today. So first we have Hadianto Rubawa, who is the co-founder and chief happiness officer at Benefits. They are an employee benefits platform that helps businesses take care of their employees by connecting them directly to health and wellness providers. And then we also have Srivatsan Mohan. He's a vice president of XOXO Day, an employee culture and benefits platform that help business leaders and HR make business impact by optimizing the spends on rewards, incentives, and benefits engagement. And finally, we also have Chui Tian. She's the head of digital engagement advice at Pave Technologies, an end-to-end wealth management fintech solution servicing financial institutions and corporations. So before we get started and let the presenters take the stage, I just want to do one quick poll to find out what everyone's doing with their employee benefits. So can we have the poll, please? Great. So you can indicate what kind of employee benefit programs that you are currently running right now. So we have a few options here, quite common ones like health plans, dental plans, vision plans. Some organizations might have financial or retirement plans, although we do already have CPF in Singapore. Some companies also have wellness programs or flexi benefits. Some call it flexi dollars, where you can just give amount of allowance, you can spend it on any of the above categories mentioned, or things like childcare, on your insurance premiums. There are also things like training allowance, as well as like employee discounts. So some of these plans or benefit programs will be touched on by the speakers today. If you do have any other benefit programs that you're running that is not on the list, then feel free to type it in the chat and share it with us as well. So I'll give you some time to hear it, to select your option. Okay. Maybe you can have the answers being shared. Okay, so we see that majority have health plans as a benefit, followed by dental plans or flexi benefits. So I think flexi benefits is probably something more common for more smaller businesses that you can just give allowance, easy to manage. And then next would be wellness programs, training allowance, employee discounts. So maybe I'll let the various speakers chime in, like what do you think about this? Anyone has any comments?
Yeah, I'm actually curious to know, I see financial plans. I'm just curious to know what that actually refers to when a company has financial plans for a company. But yeah, it'd be interesting to find out if
so for those who indicated financial plans, if you have more details on exactly what you're doing, you can put it inside the chat for us to have a look. So I think for financial plans, probably a lot more common overseas and maybe not so much in Singapore, because Singapore we have like a standard CPF retirement plan that everyone has to subscribe to. But maybe for the US markets, it'd be more common. So some people do write some plans that they give their employees include things like personal loan or study loan. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so if you have any, along the way, you have any other ideas of what kind of benefits that you can share with the other attendees, you can feel free to put it in the chat as well. And I think, Hadi, do you have a comment?
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of in line with what we surveyed with our SMEs as well. Health and flexi seems to be the trend going forward. So yeah, seems to be in line.
Great. How about Shrivatsan?
So yeah, thanks, Yiting. So this is pretty representative of a lot of clientele who reach out to us also. But what I see here is health plan is something that is a base standard, and that's considered to be the minimum benefit a lot of organizations are providing now. What I see as a trend, which we'll be discussing probably down the line, is an enhancement or an acceleration of flexi benefits, training allowance, employee discounts, etc. Since the recession began, the acceleration of focus on that has increased. So I think it's nice to know that a lot of our attendees already are doing some of these.
Yes. So I think good job for everyone who's like doing more than what is expected and providing more to put your employees first in terms of benefits. So I think now we'll just get started into our main presentations. So first up, we actually have Hadi from Benefit. So Hadi, I'll give you the stage. You can share your screen.
Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Mic check. Okay, so maybe I'll start.
Sure.
All right, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for making time to be with us this afternoon to be part of this webinar that's organized by Just Login. So Benefit is really happy to be here to help be part of the discussion on how to boost employee morale with employee benefits. The topic really resonates with us because it is really our company's mission to provide to help companies provide better benefits for their employees and to really take care of their employees. So my name is Hadi. You can call me Hadi for short. I'm the Chief Happiness Officer of Benefits. It's a pretty simple job that my boss gave me, just making sure that people in the office stays happy, stays productive, stays efficient, right? So today I'll be sharing two common misunderstandings, right? Or shall we say myth around how market understands employee benefits. And it's not entirely your fault that it's misunderstood, but it's kind of like the way that the big corporations or even the big insurers have brainwashed us to be. So to start with, let's start with the first elephant in the room, right? It's COVID-19. So COVID-19 is not temporary. In fact, COVID-19 is really the new normal. Life after COVID-19 is not going to go back the way they were. Think about it. If such a simple flu is able to cause so much havoc, right? You can really imagine what the dangerous people moving forward can really evolve the flu to. And really to survive or even to thrive, right? Forward-thinking companies have to rethink the way they need to do business, from the way they do business to the way they collaborate, or even right down to their management of people. In fact, from this pandemic itself, right, we're seeing two very key trends. And what are they? Obviously, the first one is digitization, and it's probably the way that we are interacting with each other nowadays. Digitization is really the new norm. We have to move towards the new world. And in future, our ability to be successful is really defined by our ability to collaborate online, collaborate effectively, collaborate virtually. And the second key trends that have really arisen out of this pandemic is something that everybody is, I think, has already become accustomed to, and that is called a work from home policy. Obviously, working from home has its pros and cons, right? But however, you know, even the Zoom CEO, Eric Yuan, who was doing the IMDA event recently, right? He did mention that the way forward is really a hybrid policy, and only the companies that can embrace this, gets the work from home policy arrangement right, they will be able to not only survive, but the keyword is to thrive in the future. So maybe I'll just take a quick poll, right? In the midst of all these corporate changes, which business function is really the one that needs to change and really evolve the most, right? Maybe, you know, the floor, like, is it the sales team, the marketing team, HR or finance? Which are the guys that need to evolve? How do I? Oh, there you go. Let me see the chat. Facilities. Okay, that's true. Not seeing the full question. For the guys that's here, you guys, I mean, we could interact through via the chat. Okay. So, anyways, in today's context, right? What I like to bring is actually, in my opinion, okay, the function that needs to evolve the most is really our HR friends, right? Think about it. They're really the superhero of the company, right? They in a certain sense, they really, you know, the term 报个料 for the non-Chinese speaking friends, that's actually the local language for do everything. It's a thankless job. And I want to summarize their roles actually with 4 P's, okay? The first P is actually people. Think about it. They handle every stage of the people process, from headhunting to interviewing to onboarding, and the most difficult of all, to manage the egos after the guys are in. And that's not forgetting the second P, which is process, okay? There's a lot of paperwork to do, documents you need to file, you time keep, and they also need to appraise you. Obviously, the other thing that they need to do is setting policies. There's a lot of policies that's being set, and there's a lot of policies that employees need to adhere to. But at this current stage, right, nothing beats the importance of HR people getting the work from home policy right. Managing people has become virtual. Your ability to manage people with a very effective policy is really going to define how you thrive in the post-COVID world. And a lot of companies obviously is still trialing this out, testing, you know, 1 day, 2 day, or maybe a totally flexible. There's no right or wrong answer, but the guys who will get this right will be able to thrive in the future. The last P that I'd like to touch upon is actually payroll. Okay, payroll is definitely one of the most important piece they do. And indirectly, what HR people usually terms payroll is as com and ben. Okay, let's break down that word. It's actually compensation and benefits. It's understandable that you need to have a very attractive com and ben strategy to really attract the talents. Compensation is easy to understand. I mean, obviously it deals with money. But the whole key point I'd like to touch upon today is actually benefits. Okay, what is the most important thing about benefits that makes you stand out amongst your competitors? And this is basically the 4 reasons where employers provide employee benefits for the people, or even to differentiate themselves against their competitors. And point number 1 is really all about trying to attract and retain talents, correct talents. We obviously know that, you know, big companies like your FANGs, your Facebook, your Googles, they have shiny benefits to attract talents. And it is one of the key reasons why they're able to grow so much. And the benefits probably include like financial wellness, employee engagement, free meals, you know, in-house gyms. Okay, it's really a very wholesome benefits that they're able to provide for their talents. The problem is this, okay, the average underserved SMEs are simply left behind. They have no access to skill. What we'd like to do today is really to bring forward a very practical solution, right? And it should be a solution which is wholesome, and that is employee health and wellness. And it's not just the option of treatment, but ideally it has to be the option that includes prevention as well. And when you get point 1 done right, point 2 naturally follows. And what do I mean by point 2? It's really about when they're treated well, they will feel productive. See, providing a holistic employee benefits for full-time employees shows that you are invested in their health and wellness, and you really care for them. You know, like what they say, the carrot is better than the stick. And if your benefits provide them the necessary health coverage, it will become the platform or the springboard, okay, for them to do their job really well and really be productive. At the end of the day, employee benefits is also about rewarding them, right? Talents stick with the company if you treat them well, if they feel rewarded for their endeavors. It is very critical when you design an employee benefits program. It's something that they can feel and they can enjoy, okay? After all, it's an investment. When you invest something, you want returns. And whatever you invest on, hopefully it drives the result that you actually want. So having said all this, right, I like to touch on my presentation where I say I'm going to debunk the 2 myths that exist in the market right now. I'm going to go to myth number 1, okay? So what's myth number 1? Okay, myth number 1 says that employee benefits is health insurance in the market, okay? This is totally wrong. Why is it totally wrong? Because the big insurers have managed to make us think that way. Of course, this I would say buying health insurance, right? It serves its purpose. I mean, you pay a lump sum annual premium, you outsource every operations to the insurer. But now think about it. Does it really fit with your objectives? Point number 1. Are you really fully utilizing the coverage? For the employees in benefits, I think on average, they see doctor twice a year. And if you're paying close to $300 to pay for that lump sum premium, per visit is $150. You're definitely not maximizing our coverage. How about point number 2? Is it even user-friendly? Is the process smooth for you and the HR as well? Think about it. The GPs that you can go to is probably limited. The services that they can render is also limited, and you're probably gonna get the cheaper drugs. And let's say for the event that you don't like the GPs in the panel, of course you can go to non-panel GPs. But doing that, you need to pay upfront, get the receipt, submit the claim, and probably get your refund back, I don't know, 2-3 months later. The experience is simply not as friendly as you like to think it to be. And let's not forget the last and most critical point, right? Insurance is a product that you can only feel the tangible benefits if you use it. Unfortunately, when you use it, usage goes up. When usage goes up, prices goes up when you're about to renew. And in this day and age, right, where budgets are getting limited and you need to do more with less, is this really aligning with the corporate objectives that you want? This is the first myth that I'm trying to dispel. And I'll go with myth number 2. And that actually is, employee benefits is expensive and it's time consuming. So we know that there are thousands of companies in Singapore that are unable to get access to health insurance, and they're unable to get access to wholesale rates. As such, a lot of them sticks with the reimbursement model. So what's the reimbursement model again? Okay, it's essentially defining what an employee should spend in a year, and you just tell them verbally, all right, you have $200. They spend $300. They can utilize their budget to spend on, say, GP visits. They just need to pay first, get the receipt, submit the claim, and then HR reimburse them. And all this is usually tracked manually. You see, these companies are struggling. No doubt, if your team is still small, can do, okay? Google Sheet can do. No, okay, Excel sheet can do. And if maybe employee size gets bigger, maybe you're gonna transition to Google Sheets. But the fact is, this thing is not scalable and you have no access to wholesale rates. And if anything is manual, as your company grows bigger, it's not scalable. And at the end of the day, the experience is generally poor for both HR and employees. And in this era of digitization, we are really leveraging on platforms to help us being more efficient in every day of our lives. And employee benefits is something that we like to encourage the market to also automate their investments as well. See, at the end of the day, right, the last thing you want when you do an investment is to result in a poor experience for both the employees and the HR. And ideally, if you can automate it as much as possible, it would be something that's useful for you. Okay, so maybe I'd like to ask as well for the guys, for the attendees here, right? Actually, how many of you have already automated your HR processes, or maybe automated your employee benefits processes? Maybe you can type A for automated and M for manual. Maybe let me just take a quick look. I see more A than M's, obviously. So I guess, well, just login seems to be serving quite a fair bit of you guys. Thank you, thanks for the answer. So now, okay, for the guys that's already automated, perfect, well done. For the guys that's still manual, right? Now, let me ask you a question, right? Having debunked both myths, right? Wouldn't it be good if there's a solution in the market that automatically automate and track seamlessly your program for you. And it automatically fixes the parameters to the policies that you design. It gives you wholesale rates to a large medical panel, and it allows your employee to, how come my slide? Yeah, it allows the employees to have freedom to take control on where they want to spend and when they want to spend and what they want to spend. Obviously, the solution that we're trying to propose is actually a flexi benefit solution, okay? And this is the reason why Benefits was created, right? It's a platform that makes employee benefits simple for employees to use and for HRs to implement. And the reason why customers choose us is basically 3 A's, okay? We automate the medical claims for them. We make it accessible. We probably have one of the largest medical provider panels in Singapore. And at the end of the day, we make it affordable. We give you access to wholesale rates without needing you to do much work on your part. One example of a customer we have is actually ViewQuest. ViewQuest is actually a SME, maybe about 50 head count, but they are actually providing MNC level benefits for their employees. And we've managed to help them achieve key KPIs when they shifted over to us. In fact, if you guys are interested to find out more how we help other HRs out there to automate and scale their commandment processes, we actually also have an upcoming webinar next week. If you're interested to find more, we'll be sharing further on how we actually help companies scale their EP processes further. And maybe I'll just do a quick sharing. Let's put the link here. You guys can do the registration. Yeah, we use the seminar too. So there's a couple of questions coming. I'll answer it later, all right? So to sum it up today, right, I just want to highlight that HRs are really your organization's champions, well done, and they're really the heartbeat of the operations. And to really survive and thrive forward, we need to digitalize. Let's use any platform out there to really make your job and life more efficient and more productive. And at the end of the day, right, there are really smarter alternatives out there. Don't rely on the status quo. I mean, obviously today we have all our other partners. We got Suzode, we got pave. Everybody is offering smarter alternatives to the solutions out there. Please do not just stick with the status quo. I'd like to end my presentation with this quote from this gentleman, Douglas Cohen. He's actually the ex-CEO of Campbell Soup. Guess most of you should be pretty familiar. So he said that to win in the marketplace, right, you must first win in the workplace. And it actually makes sense, right? If you really take care of your people, technically, right, your business will take care of itself. And ideally, business will boom. Again, I like if any of you want to reach out, this is actually our contact. Or if any of you have registered for webinars, I look forward to seeing you next week. This is our website, manifest.com. We've got a collection of blogs and resources that will provide value for you. So with this, I end my presentation. Thank you so much. And maybe I'll just pass it back to Yi-Ting. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Hadi. So if you have any questions for Hadi, I saw some people putting it in the chat. Just feel free to put it in the Q&A box and we will tackle the questions together at the end after all the presentations are done. Okay, so next we have Srivatsan from XOXO Day or Zozo Day. So over to you.
Thanks, Yi-Ting, and fantastic presentation, Hadi. I mean, got a great glimpse of what you guys are offering and the insights that you have on the market. Let me just share my screen and then I'll start my presentation. Yeah, I hope it's visible to everyone. Great. So XOXO Day is a 8-year-old organization with the aim to improve organization culture and to provide benefits to employees across the globe. We have 2 key products, Impulse and Plum. Impulse is primarily a culture driving product, whereas Plum is an employee benefits product. Without too much ado, I'll just get into the presentation. During my presentation, I'll be talking about very briefly about what is employee engagement and how employee engagement adds value in both the good times and the bad times. What types of motivation are there in the can really be done in order to improve the employee productivity, etc. Then we'll come to the employee benefits part, how financial stress is a major influencer in employee benefits, and how you can frame your employee benefits plan in line with the current needs because of COVID, because of work from home, etc. And finally, we'll touch upon what are the key criteria that some of our clientele have opted for, or even the clients that we interacted with have opted for when choosing a right partner for the whole program. Employee engagement is a very broad subject. In essence, an engaged employee is a productive employee, and these are some of the stats. I wouldn't want to go and read each content here, but the cost of disengagement is very real, and these numbers are typically based or pegged in American dollars, and pretty typically for the American market. But humans are humans everywhere. I mean, if you are having a disengaged employee, they are going to be equally non-productive, whether they are in India, whether they are in Malaysia, whether they are in Singapore. The cost of the benefits of having a highly engaged employee is also very high. That's a real tangible business outcome that you can measure with the high engagement. And as Hadi mentioned, the Campbell Soup's ex-CEO, that quote resonates with almost everyone. I mean, until you keep your internal customers happy, the employees happy, your external customers won't be happy, because they will not be getting the fullest service, or the best product, or the best whatever from your organization. Having said this base, I think we established that engagement is is a very key aspect that we need to look at, and there are different ways to engage your workforce. There are two broad ways you engage your workforce. One is by intrinsic motivation, and the other one is through extrinsic motivation. Let me touch briefly on what is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is a way by which employees find a way to get motivated through themselves. And when I say this is through themselves, this is very deeply psychological. What you look at here are how satisfied are they with their work. We have a broad framework, and these frameworks are validated by a lot of psychologists and a lot of HR leaders across the globe, that you need to focus on four key pillars. Alignment of work. Alignment of work is, are you doing something that is meaningful to the organization? Are you having a satisfaction at your work that makes you put in the extra 10% at the end of each day? Empowerment. Are you having freedom in your organization to take decisions at your level? Are you having any red tape? Are you empowered to take decisions? Are you empowered to give feedback? If something is not working in your organization, are your employees empowered to give feedback? Recognition. This is something that we all love, and we all understand that when you recognize someone, when you appreciate them, they strive to do better next time. And this is something that is a great motivator, and again, an intrinsic motivation. Finally, communication. Is everyone, right from the topmost leader to the bottommost employee, are they in sync? Is the messaging clear? Is there a direct channel of communication between the top leadership and the entire organization? Some of the key ways by which you can jumpstart your intrinsic motivation, while the key pillars are there, it's very hard to solve. So a way to jumpstart or catalyze your intrinsic motivation is you create a culture of appreciation, where even the smallest things are appreciated. When the smallest things are appreciated, obviously people do something big, and you have a larger occasion to appreciate. Encourage honest feedback, being as candid as possible. Encouraging feedback at all levels gets visibility, especially to the HR partners, to what is happening on ground. A lot of the participants here would be having organizations which is having multiple branches, which is having a few hundred people. A HR partner will not know or not understand what is wrong with each department. Encouraging honest feedback is something that is very helpful. Providing clear alignment and purpose is something that should be strived for. This is a top-down activity, while feedback is something that you look at as a bottom-up activity. Providing alignment and purpose is a top-down activity, and can be heavily influenced by the HR partners who run the show in most of the organizations. Moving on. How do you do it? Some of the key ways to start is to first know what to change, you need to know first where you are. And the best way we have found a lot of companies, a lot of clients of ours finding success is to start with a pulse survey. Pulse survey, like how a doctor first measures your pulse, measures your heartbeat, etc. A pulse survey identifies what is happening in your organization, and a typical measure spans across various key metrics, various key dimensions, as we call it as. For example, how aligned are your members? How happy are they with the culture in the organization? How happy are they with the facilities and their salary, etc. Act on the feedback. A feedback from an employee should be treated in the same way as a feedback from a customer. Act on the feedback and your employees will reward you back. Act on the feedback, and finally invest in culture. When I say invest in culture, invest in drivers of culture. It is not about, you can't buy culture, you have to form it, and each organization has its own culture, and some organization has a very loose culture, very happy-go-lucky culture, whereas another organization will have a very formal culture, and both of them work. Whatever is your secret sauce, invest in it and make sure that that works, and choose the right engagement model for that. Extrinsic motivation is something that is another key vector in employee motivation, and extrinsic is as the name suggests, it's something that is not psychological but through material benefits, and this is where having a really good employee benefits and rewards program very helps a lot. Right now we are in a situation where unfortunately we are in a recession, and this recession is very peculiar, that almost the whole world is affected by it because of globalization. It's like a domino falling. When one country suffers, the other country obviously is dependent on it also suffers. So right now, more than ever, your extrinsic motivation plays a great role. And the beauty of extrinsic benefits is you don't need to spend a lot. I mean, compared to giving top-notch salary where you need to go compete with, let's say, the Silicon Valleys or the best paid companies in your respective markets, benefits is something that's a lot cheaper to achieve. 4 in 5 employees want perks more than a pay raise, and that's very evident, and that's also because generally money takes you to some level, and once you reach a certain level of happiness, you have certain level of salary, you do not really need more, and benefits are a much more meaningful manner to get the best out of, or get some things that you do not currently have in your life. Again, when people are looking to choose the right employer, benefits play a great role. So these are some of the key things that we have identified through our clientele, through various research in the organization across the globe, etc. Cost of financial stress. So this is something that most of us go through being employees or even founders ourselves. Financial stress is something that all of us are going through right now because there is less to go around. You have less sales, which results in less salaries, or if at all, even if there is no slashing of salary, the salary increments, etc., are reduced. So this is a very evident thing, and roughly this is there's been a research which calculated this to be 5% of the total payroll cost goes into your employees actually finding out how to solve their financial stresses. I'm sure this is much more. I mean, I don't have numbers to back it because there has been no survey to do it. But my bet says that this is 20 to 25% of your workforce's active mind share goes into managing their finances right now, and that's something that we have to really address as the need of the hour. Coming to benefits, while Hadi and all have provided fantastic benefits when it comes to medical benefits, etc., I would like to touch upon benefits that are beyond your medical benefits because that's something that I feel a lot of our employers have an obligation, natural obligation to provide. Other than employee benefits, mental wellness is something that is a very crucial thing, and a lot of our clients are opting for mental wellness packages. These are typically packages where you have counselors, where you have psychologists who provide specific time and help coach or help guide employees who are at distress. Employees get into distress for a lot of reasons. Financial distress is something that we already saw. But other than financial distress, when I am working from home, I have kids and I am shouting all the day, and my wife says it's very stressful to hear me shout all the day because I'm on calls all the day. Making yourself adjust to work from home is a very key practical issue that most of us have. E-learning is something that is very common. A lot of employees have a key career decision that they have to take. A lot of their, as we have discussed, the common theme is automation. Now, what happens to anyone who has not already got on the automation bandwagon? I mean, they have to find a way to get on it. E-learning is something that is very meaningful. Again, very, very low cost, low onboarding cost for organizations. A lot of these come in the form of employees paying, maybe organizations paying a very small amount to match it. E-learning is a fantastic way to boost your employees' morale. It also provides intrinsic motivation to employees. Employees find a lot of value attaching with themselves with your organization. Access to short-term credit, again, this is something that a lot of banks and credit organizations do naturally, but we might underestimate the amount of credit need entry-level worker has, and this is typically a problem where your entry-level worker or the worker who is least paid, and these are typically the workers who are also the bottom of your pyramid. They are the most number of workers, and these are the workers who have the maximum stress when it comes to managing their bills. Access to short-term credit is a great way to do it, and providing benefits in the form of your organization partnering with other organizations who provide employees a direct line of credit is a fantastic way to do it, and this is something that works, and a lot of our clients also do it. Insurance coverage, extended insurance coverage is something that is the need of the hour. Typically, your medical benefits cover the immediate family, but the larger family, especially the aged population in your house, if you want to increase the amount of health insurance that is provided to them, maybe a COVID insurance that is provided to them, a cancer coverage that is provided to them. These are fantastic benefits. Again, very low cost of onboarding, very low, very light on the overall budget of your organization, but fantastic for the employees and very contextual at the moment. Moving on, what we find a lot of our clients who are gravitating towards us saying is they do not understand, or they cannot create a single plan which will work for everyone. Health definitely works for everyone. Maybe food or some other perks works for everyone, but how do you give the same benefit to a 25-year-old and a 45-year-old in your organization? How do you give the same benefit to a person who is on the field, on the ground, riding motorbikes or his car on a daily basis, and someone who is in a cushy office on a daily basis? So having a wide array of benefits definitely works, and that's where a platform like XOXO Day, but we are not the only platform. There are so many other platforms who provide it, make a lot of difference. So what we do is we create a bouquet of a catalog. We create a catalog which is very wide, and we provide a lot of choices. And as an organization, as an admin, as a facilities or a HR or a benefits administrator in your organization, you can pick and choose. If you feel that the best way to spend your benefits budget is not, let's say, not in food and drinks, whereas but it's in e-learning and in medical benefits, fantastic. You can curate it, provide the best one that is available to your that is available as per your parameters. But again, do not restrict it to a single provider. Provide a wide range of insurance options, provide a wide range of medical options, etc. Moving on, I think at the end of the day, we are all looking at automation. We are all looking at how can you make the HR teams and the facilities team and the benefits team more productive. And the best way to make them more productive is to give them more time. Choosing a right partner here will help you. The right partner should provide the right balance of automation with a high level of control. Some of the key things that we offer to our customers, which we also find to be a meaningful benchmark to choose the right partner, is someone who covers both the psychological and the material part of benefits, someone who covers both the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Because you cannot do one and solve the other. Just carrots and sticks do not work for everyone. You need to provide them motivation at a more psychological level. Offer a wide catalog of benefits, offer a wide catalog of choices for the employees. That is something that is very crucial. cater to global audience. I mean, we ourselves being a organization catering to a lot of MNCs, we understand the pain point that what works in one region doesn't work in another. If you have a workforce which is spanning across 4 countries, how do you make sure that your benefits program handles different currencies, cater to people who are in their respective regions, etc. And having someone who has the experience of doing it is a great bonus. High level of information security and privacy is something that you should definitely look at. At the end of the day, this is the golden repository of your data, which is the employee's key data, and it's very sensitive. Having a partner whom you trust when it comes to information security is very crucial. Now, let me just briefly touch upon what Zozoday has done, XOXOday has done. We have covered more than 2 million users, we've served more than 2 million users. I think we are close to 3 million users as of date. We have fantastic ratings in all the key rating sites. When it comes to ratings, we are rated by organizations, we are also rated by individuals. We serve a lot of Fortune 500 companies. We do more than 5,000 plus daily transactions. These are transactions when it comes to benefits, when it comes to rewarding, etc. And of course, we have been around for more than 7 years. So we actually just celebrated our 8th year. We have had a lot of coverage from various media houses, and we have also been accredited by a lot of accelerators and certification programs. A brief look at some of our clients. I don't want to name each of them, but you will be able to relate to a lot of them. These are global clients, and a lot of them will be in the respective regions where you are. Finally, this is where we are. We at XOXOday, we are physically present in a lot of places, but we ourselves are virtually present with you wherever you are. We have a catalog that spans 60 plus countries. Of course, in most of the countries where I believe a lot of our participants are from Singapore, Malaysia, maybe Thailand, maybe India, maybe Australia. We have very, very rich catalogs there. And we are happy to interact with any of you who are interested in a holistic solution. Happy to take any questions. I'll stop my presentation right now. Over to you, Ethan.
Okay, thank you. So finally, let's invite Chuyen from Pave Technologies to share about more about financial wellness.
Hi, thanks, Yiting. I'm gonna keep mine fairly short. I understand there's a bit of a time constraint. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So my topic is more on the financial wellness. So Pave, just a quick introduction. My name is Chuyen. So I'm one of the partners at Pave Technologies, and we're essentially a fintech company, wealth management solution to be exact, and we service mainly financial institutions and corporates. So my topic will be, the previous 2 panelists shared quite a bit about benefits in all shapes and forms. So I will drill in more into the financial wellness part of things. If I could just trouble most of you to, let me see this, go to menti.com and key in this. I would like to just quickly find out what are most of you concerned about when it comes to financial wellness for your teams or companies. Let me see if is everyone able to access the menti.com? Just gonna do a quick check. Okay, so we're seeing some 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 consistent replies. So budget, okay. So I'm guessing when you say budget, you are referring to more like a budget for paying for your employee benefits. Okay, so this is helpful for me to know, and then I will drill into some of your concerns very shortly. Let me just go real quick to the next couple. I'll cover three main things. So first one being, what is financial wellness, right? So in essence, it is really the health of one's finances. So be it yourself personally, or as an entrepreneur or business owner, or your employees, right? So, and how does one determine that? Whether one has a financial plan, be it short-term or long-term, ability to spend money, smartly. Surprisingly, a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. And also understanding the concepts of investment and saving. So again, that depends on what stage you are at of your career, your life stage, your age, all that does matter. So for example, somebody who's just starting out at work, you wouldn't be thinking too much about investment yet. You'll be thinking more along the lines of savings. And then also, of course, if you are changing stage of life, then you wouldn't also be thinking too much about investment maybe, right? You'll be thinking about saving for a house, or maybe some of your wedding or kids, etc. And then of course, as you progress along, you have some spare cash, you will consider things like investment. So all of this contributes to one's financial health. Some of the other things to consider as to what is financial health is the ability to absorb unexpected financial shocks. So pertinent to now, right? So today, in today's context, this is particularly crucial. So it is advised that most people have 6 months or say emergency funds, right? Or in fact more, depending on, again, the lifestyle that you have in the event that you get retrenched from your work. Or for whatever unfortunate reason, your salary has to be cut, right? So for example, business owners of F&B this time, or even travel, is badly affected. So having this emergency fund is important. And then of course, whether you have enough funds to maintain a lifestyle that maybe you're used to, or you might need to consider cutting down, right? And then of course, unexpected life events like unfortunate things like illnesses, or like maybe your car broke down and it's not covered by insurance, right? So just simple things like that. So all of that, whether you have that buffer, so the more buffer you have, of course, the more like financially healthy you are. Then lastly, also your relationship with money. So this one is a bit more psychological, right? So things like, how does money make you feel? Are you attached to the concept of the money itself? Like, you know, what I would call like money hoarders, right? It's not a good or a bad thing, but it's just your relationship with money itself. Or are you more attached to what money can get you? So these are interesting things to consider. So for example, people who are attached to money itself, not so much what money can get you, then maybe you want to think about things like, take a step further. How important is that for you and why, right? And then what are your values when it comes to money? Are you the kind that lives, again, I can just spend because I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow? Or are you a planner? And also, what will money empower you to do? Are you saving it for family or kids? Or is it experiences and things? So these contribute to the context of what is financial wellness. So why is it important? So we talked about retention. So I think the other two panelists has also talked about this. Research has shown that 60% of the staff is more likely to stay at a job, right? If there is financial wellness benefits, and also if they are financially a bit more healthy or stable. And also distraction, right? So financial stress is one of the most number one distraction when it comes to productivity. So just to share like a personal experience, I've gone from a corporate job, a very well corporate high paying job, stable income, to an entrepreneur. So when I was an entrepreneur, after some time of not drawing salary, you start to worry, of course, about your day-to-day living. And then I started getting distracted. I started thinking about, oh, how do I make that extra income to compensate my so-called entrepreneurial journey, right? So then, unfortunately, maybe I cannot put in the kind of headspace that I would like to put in my startup versus, say, a person who is covered every month and I can just focus on my job. So I ended up thinking about things like, oh, maybe I even tried things like Grab Hitch and all of that just to supplement the extra income. So these become distractions, right, to your employees as well if they are financially stressed. And then naturally it leads to productivity issues, like whether they are spending more time thinking about their money or spending more time trying to value add to your company. So lastly, how do you implement financial wellness type of benefits to your company? So I think this is briefly touched on earlier by earlier panelists. So one of the things that we could do is to offer actually financial literacy courses, right, to your staff. It's important to empower your staff, not just to, I guess, provide them benefits, but also empower them with the knowledge on how to do things like save. You'll be surprised on how many people actually do live paycheck to paycheck, right? So saving does not have to be difficult or complicated. The other thing that these financial literacy workshops can do is also to help your employees grow their wealth. So again, you don't need a lot of money to grow your wealth. You can always start with $500 a month, for example, set aside, putting in a simple fund ETF, for example, just to grow your wealth, and maybe help them overcome the fear of investing. So these things will help and also empower your employees to be financially healthy. Other ways to implement financial wellness, say for example, as a company, some of you talk about budget, right? Maybe one of the things that instead of salary schemes, there are different ways to do salary schemes. So in these times, for example, there are companies, instead of cutting staff, for example, some will introduce salary for equity schemes. So maybe you can offer your employees to say, look, if you take so-called this pay cut, the cut that you have taken can be used to purchase equity into the company. So this does two things. One is that as an employee, I don't feel like I am losing value in any way. And the second thing that it does is that it enables your employee to partake in the growth of your company in the future. So if your company does actually, ride through this storm, I think it's great. It's in everyone's interest. There are other things that you can do, which is like commission schedules. Like if, for example, the more money you make, then you can pay them accordingly. Others would be things like bonus can be paid in equity. So these are different ways to help sort of manage your company cash flow, as well as to provide some kind of financial stability for your employees. And then lastly, I think some of you talked about financial loans. So for example, if your employees want to go for graduate studies, etc., you could extend that as a company if you could afford it. And of course, some of the benefits that was brought about by the other two, panelists. Yeah, and that's very quickly how financial wellness play a role in companies. So very quickly, we're a wealth tech company where we provide end-to-end wealth management solutions for financial institution company. We have two brands. So Wealth brand is our financial literacy arm. If any of you are interested to provide financial literacy courses or workshops to employees, do feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to speak to you. All right, that's it from me. Thank you, Yi-Ting.
Okay, thank you, Chuyen. So we'll just move on to our Q&A section very quickly now. So we just do a quick 5 minutes. I see there's some questions, so if you have any other questions, you can still put it into the Q&A now. I do see, maybe we'll start with questions for Hadi. So there's one question. I think the questions are mostly about flexi benefits. I think that's something that really perked the audience interest. So I think one of the concern about flexi benefits is if you give your employees the flexibility to go and spend the given amount of flexi benefits, and if they use up on things and they have not enough budget left for the essentials, like if they have to go see a doctor, what is the liability of the employer in such a scenario? So what would you advise the employer to do if they meet this case?
Thank you for the questions. So we've actually I encountered quite a couple of customers that actually asked us on the same questions as well. So under MOM guidelines, you are supposed to provide, companies is supposed to provide GP consultation charges, the consultation charges up to 14 times. But having said that, most of the customers that's on it, they just, for example, if the flexi benefit is $300, they just offer that to the employees as $300 as employee benefits. And dependent if the employee has really used up the 300, then so be it.
Okay, sure. So it's probably up to your employee to how he wants to plan it. Then also about flexi benefits topic is, I think there was a question about whether it's taxable, and also another one about whether perhaps it's liable for CPF.
Oh, okay. For whether it's taxable or not, it's really dependent whether it's medical or non-medical. For medical, it's not taxable. For non-medical, yes, it is taxable.
Okay, so I think if you have any more questions. Okay, so I think the same question about liability on employer, I think based on Hadi's answer is there will not be, right? Do you want to?
Yeah, it's really okay. This is, we provide the platform. We kind of try to understand the perspective from the employers itself, and the ones that we spoke to is it's the policies. This is the budget that I give you, 300, and obviously this should cover for your 14 visits. But if you should choose to spend this on other things, it's really up to the employees, but it's really dependent on the flexibility. But having said that, our platform is also designed to also put a cap on the wallet such that, for example, per GP visit is, let's say, depending on our wholesale rates, whether it's $13, you could probably budget like $150 that's going to cover 10 to 12 visits. And you put the remainder in another wallet where you can spend it on something else. So it really provides you the flexibility on how you want to design it.
Okay, thank you, Hadi. Yeah, I think there's a question about flexi benefits, but I think we say if the company gives too many flexi benefits, won't the employee take advantage of it and not report to work? I think there probably is a confusion between flexi time and flexi benefits there, right? Yeah, so I think flexi benefits from what we have shared is more of like flexi dollars, giving them like this amount of money that they can choose to use for various kind of benefit plans. Yeah, okay, so I think that's all the questions we have for now. But if you've got any other questions for any speakers that perhaps you want to catch up with them after this session, fill out our feedback form and you can indicate your interest to catch up with any of the speakers, and they will follow up with you after the session. And beyond this webinar, I would just like to share some useful resources for everyone. So in our first employee first webinar, we actually also did a panel discussion about employee financial wellness. So if you're still interested in that topic, you can hop in to check out that. We also have a series of on-demand webinars on our website. So the link is also in the chat. If you want to see any of the webinars, feel free to go there and download and watch at your own time. And last but not least, we would like to invite everyone here to attend Just Login's user conference, Just Experience. It's happening on 10 September. So no matter if you're a customer or if you're just exploring Just Login, you can attend the event to find about new features coming up, the app partners we're integrated to, or you can just attend our customer or demo sessions. So we look forward to having you there as well. So to end off this session, I'd just like to thank you, our wonderful panelists for today, Chui and Srivasnan and Hadi. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm sure that our audience have learned a lot from all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting us, Yiding.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yiting.
Thank you, and thank you everyone. Have a good day. We'll end off this session now.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day. Be safe.